one thing that I want to remind everybody just really quick before we get into that is if you're looking for a community, speaking of, where you would like to have more conversations like this, you would like to experience more content like this, you're interested in your personal growth, your spiritual development, you take it serious. You're not just looking to, this is not a hobby, not an interest group. We're not just going to sit around and talk about tarot and astrology and spiritual shit, but it's actually a community of people that will, that we hold each other accountable, but we're also inspiring each other and motivating each other to become the best versions of ourselves. If that's something that you're interested in. There's a video on my playlist called The Conscious Collective Presentation. I explain what the group is, how to join, all the things. And there's obviously information in the description box as well. This would be a great place for you to start. It's not an end-all be-all, but it's a great place for you to start. And you're going to get a shit ton of awesome, life-transforming information for free. There is a membership to join the group, but once you're in for life. And the value of the information that is there for you, I'm telling you, it's for the fraction of the cost. Anyways, so what else? I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, another thing. Yeah, before I forget this, there is a link in the description of this video to download this free resource, okay? And every single one of you will need this moving forward. Every single one of you. And it's 100% free. Just click it. It's going to take you to my Google Drive. You just download it. That's it. And you can keep it. Anytime you get a reading done, ever, whether you're doing readings for yourself and you're learning to read tarot and you're at home, or you come online, somebody else gives you a reading, or even if you're just listening to your favorite tarot readers and you hear a reading that resonates for you, whatever it is, could be a love reading, a career reading, it doesn't matter. But you know, it resonates. It's like, hey, this sounds like my reading. Well, this is a free, it's a free guide for all of the major arcana. So all 22 major arcana, starting at the Fool, going all the way to the World. And it's designed to assist you in you taking your power back instead of just giving your power away, thinking that tarot is somehow magically going to change your life just because the psychics and the tarot readers are predicting this. It's like, no, this is how you can step into the power of the magician and take control of your life and be a powerful person. So it's a set of questions that I have, and I will update this moving forward in the future. Like when I think of a question that I have not thought of that's listed on this guide, I will update it and I'll continue to add other questions that as they come to me in the future. But it's a set of questions that you can ask yourself when that specific major arcana card comes out in your reading. So for example, if the Fool card comes out in a reading of yours, or a reading that resonates for you, or if you're just pulling your own cards for yourself, doing readings for yourself at home, let's say the Fool card comes out. And here's some questions that you can ask yourself to put you in the frame of mind of being a powerful person instead of just a spectator, a powerless person. Are you embracing and open to all possibilities? Are you partnering and trusting the divine in your desired outcomes? Are you clear about what you want? Are you courageously willing to take a leap of faith into the unknown? Are you willing to start a new chapter in life? Are you willing to courageously take risks towards your dreams, goals, and desires? Are you willing to take a leap of faith with the divine guiding you? Are you being too risky? Are you being foolish? Are you acting immature and childish? Are you taking life too seriously? Are you taking life seriously enough? And then, on and on. So, questions if the Magician card comes out, questions if the High Priestess comes out. It doesn't matter which major arcana it is, whatever. And if it's multiple, if you get more than one, then you have these questions that you can ask yourself, because this is going to turn the reading, it's going to turn it back inward towards you for you to analyze yourself and go, okay, well, am I actually taking my power, or am I giving my power away? Am I being a powerful person, or am I being a powerless person? Because again, nothing changes until we change. And so you will always have at least some degree of accountability with these questions. If you're honest and you're willing to do the work, then you'll have these questions here that you can look at and go, okay, well, if I'm not getting what I want out of my life, then maybe some of these questions will help me evaluate where I stand within myself and what I can do to maybe make some changes and adjustments so that I can get what I want out of life, right? Because wouldn't that be better? Wouldn't it be better to have the thing that you desire than to just live in the fantasy of wishing you had it? I think so. So again, this is a free resource, and we will be referring back to this for any major arcana that comes out during this reading. And obviously I don't know what's going to come out because we haven't done that yet. So we're going to begin right now. So let me switch my camera back. I've got my deck here. So basically what we're going to do is I've got this is the main deck here, and then I've got this mini deck here to clarify with. And so what we're going to do is we're basically just going to be following that pinnacle star pattern, whereas, this is the top of the star. This is our spirit. It's that infinity symbol over the magician's head, basically. And so what we want to see come out here is a major. Now, if anything else other than a major comes out, then that tells us that, we're out of balance. We're spiritually disconnected. When a major comes out up here, that means, okay, cool. We're spiritually connected. And again, right now, this is a collective reading, so it's kind of like the average of everybody's energy collective. Okay, so we're diagnosing the group as opposed to the individual. But if you were to come to me and you wanted a reading done like this, it could be done as a personal reading, which would be very effective for you on an individual level, because you would know exactly what you need to change within you to attract whatever it is that you want. So you could come to me and you could say, hey, I want a personal reading. I want you to look at my, diagnose my energy when it comes to love, because, I'm not having success or any luck in love. And most of my relationships have been like this, they've been like that, or I've been single forever and I can't find a good match, whatever the situation is. Cool, no problem. We can do one of these for you on an individual level, and we can see where you're out of balance on all levels. And then we can get the feedback from that, from doing the reading, and the reading will tell us what you need to work on and to improve, to change, or what needs to be balanced so that you can attract that into your life. See, this is the beauty and the power of what this tool was really meant for. More than predicting future outcomes and things, this is what tarot was really intended for, was for self-diagnosis. And so, we're gonna see how this works. All right, so we're gonna start here. We're gonna start at the top, and like I said, ideally, we would want a major to come out up here. Now, there's 78 cards in a tarot deck. 22 are majors, and the other 56 are minor. So, if a major comes out, we know just based on the statistical probabilities that it's less likely for one to come out. But on an energetic level, if we're in balance, then it doesn't matter. And that's the beauty of this, the beauty of tarot and energy. It's like I can shuffle these cards, and the right card knows to come out. I don't have to tell it. I don't control it. It's kind of I don't know. It seems like a supernatural phenomenon, but I'm sure that there's an explanation for it. Okay, good. So this is good. The Lover's card has come out. So this is what we wanted. We wanted a major arcana for the first part of this. And that's good. And this is actually, not only is it good, it's actually a really, really good card out of all the majors that we could have had. It's like, I mean, we could have had a tower up there. We could have had something else that could have looked a little bit more scary. So this is actually really good. Now, I'm just going to reference back over here to our slide, just so that I'm always keeping us on track here with what we're doing here. So this is what we just did. We're pulling on this right here. That's the card that we just pulled on. Was the top of the star, the pentacle. Now the next we're going to move over is we're going to do the left, and then we'll do the right, and then we'll do the lower left, or I guess where the foot is, and then we're going to do the lower right. So we're going to go left, right, okay? First left is going to be, and I should probably write this down because I'll forget. So the left-hand side, we will do, what is left? Left is, I think left brain is masculine. No, feminine. Okay, so emotions. So the left side we'll do is emotions. The right side we'll do air. So yeah, water. I'm getting it all mixed up in my head. All right, so left side, this is going to be water. This is going to be air. This is going to be earth. And then over here on the right, this will be fire. And I've got it written down so I won't forget. All right, so water, air, earth, fire. Or we could say cups, swords, pentacles, wands. So now down here, as we move across the four elements, earth, fire, water, air, all that, it doesn't matter if a major comes out or it doesn't come out. It like it does up here. The reason that we wanted to see a major up here is because the major arcana represents the spirit's journey. The fool's journey is the journey of our soul, the journey of the spirit. And so because we had the Lover's card come up out here, it shows us that collectively, because this is, again, we're diagnosing the group. This isn't an individual reading. We're looking at the collective. It means that for the most part, the majority of the people that are here are connected to spirit more than not, which is a good thing. So that's awesome to know. So good for you guys. It's a good start. Now, for the rest of this, anything can come out. It doesn't matter what it is. Okay. So, and then, so let's get the first four cards out, and then I'll continue to explain. So, we have water or cups on the left here. What do we need to know about our emotional balance here? Feelings, emotions, and intuition. What do we need to work on here? What do we need to work on, be made aware of in our emotions, feelings, and intuition? Temperance. So we have a major. Now, I will say that when a major does come out, I'm going to need to probably bring these in a little bit tighter here. That's fine. Talking to myself. When a major does come out in one of the elemental positions, it just means that there is an added emphasis because it is a major arcana. So it's basically saying, hey, yeah, this is like, it's not a minor adjustment that needs to be made. There's a major adjustment that needs to be made. Okay. So a major adjustment potentially needs to be made here in regards to emotions. Now it could go either way though, because we have to look at, and what we're going to, the way that this works is when I use this little deck here, we're going to be looking at too much and too little. And that's how we're going to know where we stand within the balance of that energy. So is it too much this or is it too little that? And we have to know how to find that middle path, right? And this is how we diagnose it. So that's how this is all essentially going to play out. But let's get all the rest of the cards here. So we have, all right, we have air. See, if I didn't write it down, I would have forgot. All right, air. What do we need to know about communications, our thoughts, all the mental stuff? Now we have the Queen of Swords. Interesting. Okay. So we actually have an air sign that matched the air side. So, and I don't want to get ahead of myself and start breaking it down because we don't have all the cards out yet. And I don't want to confuse you guys on what we're doing here, because I'm teaching you something, for those of you that might want to get this type of reading done in the future. And I'll start doing more of these, on my free live tarot reads as well. And I'll offer them as an option. But this is it's good to see potentially when an element shows up in its own position, because it means it's not out of balance. At least that part of it is imbalanced. So I'm just making note of that. All right, so Earth. Let's get Earth on the table here. Now, when it's a court card, while I wait for the Earth card to come out, okay, we have Judgment. So we have another major for the Earth position. So potentially, doesn't have to be, we'll have to find out. Potentially, we have another major adjustment here to make on the Earth side of things. So the tangible, physical, material plane side, that side of things. But let me finish my statement. Keep having to interrupt myself here. When you have a court card that comes out in one of these positions, it essentially personalizes it. It means, hey, this isn't just this isn't an external influence potentially. It's specifically a personalized. It's an internal. So meanings like it's saying this isn't something that is imbalanced or influenced necessarily like from the outside in. This is something that we're doing to ourselves potentially, right? So anytime you see a court card, just think of self, meaning it's personal. It's me. It's attached to me. It's an internal thing for sure. It's not an external, where these cards could be external or internal. We don't know yet. When it's a court card, it always means self. Okay. All right. So fire. And that's helpful to know because it helps us narrow down instantaneously where we need to be troubleshooting, where we need to be looking. Holy. All right. Willie. Oh my God. This is funny. Oh, this is funny. So for the fire position, I think everybody just got told on. Yeah, everybody's watching too much porn right now. Everybody's watching too much porn right now. This is the devil. Now, why am I laughing? Well, because this is the wands position, and the devil came out in the wands position. So, yeah, I mean, it's obviously there's there's definitely a major imbalance here when it comes to desire in sexuality and addictions, and and all that. It doesn't have to be bad. It's just I'm laughing at it from the point of view of like, yeah, of course, the collective is extra horny right now. Like, got it. All right. That's so funny to me. I'm so glad that I got this on camera, because if this was just me doing something for myself off camera, offline, and that card came out, I'd be like, no one would believe it, because I don't have proof. But the fact that it came out here on camera, it's proof. It's recorded. All right. So now that we have the star, the pinnacle, so I'm just going to go back one more time. This is what we have. Up at this position up here, we had the lovers. Over here for water, we had temperance. Over here for air, we have the Queen of Swords. Down here for earth, we have judgment. And over here for wands, we have the devil. So we have completed that part of it. So now what I'm going to do with this little deck is I'm going to look at where I'm looking at the imbalances. So there's too much and too little. And whatever the card comes out for each one of those positions will tell us, okay, like for example, on this side, the left side will be the too much side. Whatever comes out on the too much side, we know there's too much of that energy. And then whatever comes out over here on there's too little, we know that that's the imbalance of, okay, there's not enough of this. And so obviously the idea is for us to strike a balance between the too much and the too little, having to do with the corporate or the main energy. All right. So I know if it doesn't completely make sense, it's okay. I'm going to make it make sense. I'm just explaining each step as we go. So the lovers, too much. There's too much what? One card, please. Too much what? Okay. Seven of Wands. So there's too much ego. There's too much defensiveness. There's too much need to be right. There's too much, we have our walls up here. Now, what does this have to do? Because remember, this has to do with spirituality, because it's the top of the star. So we're talking about our connection to the divine here with the Lovers card, essentially. Now, I'm not gonna break it down completely yet. I'm gonna get all the cards on the table before I do the full diagnosis, right? But I'm just kind of wanting to show you kind of how this works a little bit as we go. And also, I'm gonna go back here, and we're gonna take a look at our questions in a minute as well. We're going to come back and we're going to take a look at our questions for each one of these that came out, because we had the Lovers card. So here are the questions that we would ask ourselves, since the Lovers card is the first one that came out here on the table. Right? And then we would do the same thing for Temperance, because it's a major arcana. We do the same thing for Judgment, and then we would do the same thing for the Devil. So again, these are questions for ourselves, so that we can remain in control and in power. And it gives us just a very general guideline of stuff that we can start to do or look at or think about, in addition to the information that comes out in the reading itself. So again, it's a supplement, but it's a powerful supplement. Okay, so we have too much Seven of Wands, but too little of what? Too much Seven of Wands, but too little what? What is there not enough of? Okay, the Chariot. So there's not enough action. There's not enough determination. There's not enough control in life. Or there's not enough balancing of, being in control of being pulled in one direction or another potentially. So if we were just to stop there and we didn't do the rest of the other positions, already we would have a lot of information on, again, because why are we diagnosing ourselves? Because we want to understand holistically how to change our energetic vibration. We want to know how to change this right here. We want to know how to change our vibration and align ourselves to the energy. That's what this says up here. I know it's kind of, I don't know what I did on my computer, but maybe I needed to zoom out. There we go. We're aligning our energy and we're trying to raise our consciousness, raise our vibration. We're trying to get the most juice for the squeeze so that whatever it is that we want, if you want a relationship, you want more money, you want the dream house, you want the promotion, you want the raise, you just want more ideas, you want more creativity, you want more vitality, you want more energy, whatever it is that you want, what we're doing out here on the table by exploring each one of these positions is we're doing a self-diagnosis of what do we need to balance within ourselves so that we can align our energy to get that thing that we want. Okay? So I just wanted to re-mention that, re-clarify that, because there's a purpose of why we're doing this. We're not just doing this just to do just some random reading. We're doing this so that corporately we can basically, it's almost like going to the chiropractor and you're having back pain or you're having sciatic nerve or your neck hurts or something, right? And you get an adjustment done. And then once they do all the things and you're adjusted, 15, 30 minutes, an hour later, you feel great because your body got adjusted. Well, that's what we're doing. We're adjusting our energy potentially, or at least we're getting the knowledge of what needs to be adjusted. Obviously, we have to do the work. Just pulling the cards doesn't do the work for us, but we're getting the knowledge. We're getting to see how we're out of alignment, how we're not adjusted, and we're getting to see what needs to be adjusted so we can go do the work so that we can get the things that we want to have. So for here, so far, we've done spirit. Our connection to the divine is all represented right here by the Lover's card, and too much is Seven of Wands, too little is the Chariot. All right, let's get the rest of the positions done, and then we'll break it all down. So over here to cups, or water. I'm sorry, water. Emotions, feelings, emotions, intuition. There's too much what? Too much what? Can you please give me one card for water, emotions, feelings, intuitions? Okay. All right. So 2 came out. I'm going to have to choose. So the Ten of Swords and the Eight of Wands. I'm going to go... I mean, it's telling me two different stories, and both are actually kind of but I mean, both are important. So I'm going to keep the Ten of Swords because it's more extreme, and I would prefer to use an extreme example since this is the first time I'm ever doing this type of reading. But we're going to remember this Eight of Wands, okay? So too little, that was too much. So too little what for emotions, feelings, and intuitions? What is how are we out of balance? Okay, we have the Sun. All right, so let's move over to air. Too much what on the air side? I feel like the Five of Swords will come out or something. Nope, I was wrong. Hangman. See, I'm not always psychic. I ain't no psychic. It's just fun to call out sometimes what I think it's going to be. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I really do feel it though. Too little what though? Sometimes I can actually feel when I know it's what card comes out, and then it comes out, and then I'm like, yeah. And other times I just like to guess. I have no clue what's going to come out. So it's kind of like the lottery, I guess. Too little what? Okay. I hate when it does this, though, because I'm OCD, because I'm a Virgo. Don't mess my cards up. See? All that work, and then I hit it. It's just how it goes, man. But I'm not going to create a meaning or a story. A disempowering story. That's a positive story. I'm going to create a positive story. Okay, so we have too much Hangman. We have too little Ace of Wands under the air on the air position here, meaning mental. Our mental and our communication. All right, so let's go to Earth. Too much what? Now, I would definitely not be surprised to see Pentacles come out on the Pentacles. I feel like just... Nope, I was wrong again. Yeah, see there? We got the Eight of Cups. So too much Eight of Cups. Too much Eight of Cups on the Earth side. So Earth, again, is tangible, physical, material. Anything tangible, anything material, anything physical. So too little what on the Earth energy? What do we have too little of? Now we have the Pentacle. Yeah, I'm just like, I knew there's probably going to be a Pentacle on the Pentacles because that just makes sense. Yeah, too little of this. Page of Pentacles. Now remember the Court card. So we have a Court card that just came out. So just a reminder, when the Court cards come out, it always indicates or it always implies that it is a personalized or an internal related thing. So we don't have to guess about this. We don't have to guess what is the imbalance of this energy, this Page of Pentacles, something outside of us, or is it something inside of us? Like, it takes the guesswork out of it. We just instantaneously know that this is something having to do with something going on with us, personally. Going on within us, so to speak. All right, on the Wand side, too much what? Besides too much devil energy. Okay, Three of Pentacles came out. All right, too much Three of Pentacles. Yeah, I mean, interesting. Got the devil and the two people there, and then it's like, so I don't know, too many orgies, too many threesomes, too much that, too little what? Too little not enough BDSM or something. I don't know. What's going on here? Okay, so we had two cards come out. One Pentacle and one Ten of Cups here. So I'm going to take the extreme, and actually the extreme in this case is the Four of Pentacles, because we've gone to the three, and we've gone from the three and we've gone to the four. And the devil is the root chakra. So when you're looking at the chakras, the 7 chakras of a person, the heaven is the head. The heart is earth, and the feet, or the root chakra, is hell. And it's just, you have to study all the occult stuff to understand this, but that's kind of where that comes from. All right, so now we have all of the, we have all of the positions identified now. So now we can break this down and we can actually do the diagnosis. So now we know what we're working with here. And so again, this is obviously a collective reading. So, this is influencing all of us in some way, shape, or form currently. Now, if this was a personal reading, something like a reading that I was doing for someone individually, then it would even be that much more powerful because it's speaking to you and you alone. And you would have very, very, very specific information about what you need to do as a magician, because it's not going to be done for you, about what you need to change to get whatever it is that you want, right? So like, let's say you came to me and you said, I asked you, so what's the thing that you want the most right now in your life? And you're like, well, I want a relationship. I want love. Like, okay, cool. So we would do this type of reading for you based on the idea of like, well, what do I need to do to get into energetic alignment for love and relationships? If it was career and money, the same thing. What do we need to do? How do we need to diagnose our energy so that we can be in vibrational harmony for career, money, finances, whatever? And then obviously, based on the results that we get from the read, that's the information that we have to work with. And now we know what we need to work on so that we can go out and change our energy so that we can be in harmony, vibrational harmony, to attract that thing to us, right? So we're going to start here, and we're going to go ahead and just break it all down now. So we're going to start here at the Lovers. Now this is Spirit again. So I'm just going to show, throw up the slide one last time. Well, I don't know if it's the last time, but it'll be one of the last times. So we're starting up here, where the infinity symbol is. It's Spirit, and then we're going to just do exactly like we're just going to follow the same pattern. We'll do the water side, we'll do the air side, we'll do the earth side, then we'll do the fire side. All right. So basically, this position is referring to where are we out of balance in connection to our source, the divine. Again, whether you call it God, source, the universe, whatever. Well, the Lovers card came out. So this is where, if you're doing this, for yourself, and you have your own, and I highly recommend that you do. I think everybody should own a set of tarot cards. That's just my personal opinion. At least if you're doing this, like if you're using it for self-evaluation, like therapy, it'll blow your mind, the stuff that you can learn about yourself. So assuming that you have your own set of tarot cards, obviously each card has a specific meaning or meanings attached to it, like what we call the book meanings. But then there's always that layer, that level of intuition and just learning, what the cards mean from an intuitive level. And that's just something that comes with doing it again and again and again, and growing and mastering the art and the skill. And, you just grow. The more you do it, the better at that you become. So that's not something that you can really teach somebody. You just have to do it, enough times to where that part just becomes developed. It's like any skill, like learning to ride a bike, eventually you'll become proficient at it. So here, the Lovers card, when we take it out of the context of like your typical love readings and this kind of stuff, and it's a little deceiving because it's called the Lovers, when really it's not it used to be called the card of the choice. And the reason it has the card of the choice is because it has to do with our moral compass. In other words, making decisions that are based on our connection to the divine. And that's why on the, well, I guess I could just use this deck. On the traditional tarot artwork, which probably would have been helpful for me to choose a deck that actually has that artwork. But whatever. I wasn't thinking about that when I did it. So here we go. I have bajillions of decks, so I got an example. So here's the original artwork here. So you have Adam and Eve in the garden, which is just showing you duality. You have the and this is based on the tree of life is based on Kabbalah, the two trees of Kabbalah, of duality. So you have the spiritual tree and you have the material tree. Essentially is what the two trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The macrocosm and the microcosm. I'm not going to get all into that because it defeats the purpose. But here, the reason you have this is it's showing you everything is about duality. You have the masculine, you have the feminine, you have God, the source of all, right? And then you have the earth down here, which is the tangible reality, and then you have God and you have spirit up here. So essentially what this card, going back to its origins and its original meaning, it has to do with us aligning our decisions, aligning our consciousness, aligning our awareness, aligning our value system really with the divine. Are we doing that? Right? And that's what the two trees in the garden are all about. There's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life. And so, basically saying your value system can be aligned with the ego, and you're going to have a lot of, that's one experience that you're going to live in life, or you can align your value system to the tree of life, which is a metaphor to the divine. And so here, the imbalance here, or not the imbalance, I shouldn't say that. That's the wrong way to say it. What we're being told here collectively is that the energy that needs to be brought into our awareness, where there's too much or there's too little, so there is an adjustment that needs to be made here, is a better way to say it, has to do with our spiritual value system, essentially. Now, it's a good thing that this card came out, though, because it is saying, like, hey, on one hand, you guys are doing, you're doing good, because if we would have had, like, let's say we had the Two of Pentacles up here, or let's say we had the Three of Cups, or the Three of Wands, or God forbid, the Nine of Swords. There's all kinds of cards that we could have had up here that were minor arcana cards that would have been really bad. Because that basically saying we are completely spiritually disconnected. At least by having a major up here shows that we are connected to the divine. Whereas if there was not a major arcana up here, then it means that we're not even we're just completely unaware of the divine. And that's bad. That would be bad. So again, we always want a major arcana to be in this position, because at least it's telling us that, hey, at least we are connected to the divine. Like we are connected spiritually to our source. So that's a good thing. And in this case, it's good because it's still the lover's energy. It's just asking us and saying, hey, there's some adjustments that need to be made in terms of your spiritual hygiene or your spiritual value system. Are you making decisions and choices in your life that are in your highest good? That's the best way I know to say it. Now, before I forget, I want to come back here to our list here. And again, this is a free download. You can get this for free. It's in the link. I'm going to go down to the Lover's card. So some questions that we should be asking ourselves in this position. Are you aligned with your true higher self? Are you connected to the divine? Are you embodying unconditional love, or as close as you can get? I mean, obviously, unconditional love is, we're humans, we're flawed. Do you treat others the way that you want to be treated? Are your decisions and choices aligned with your highest good? Are your decisions and choices good for you and good for others, or bad for you and bad for others? Is your heart open and healthy? Do you honor, value, and respect your intimate and close relationships? Do you nurture your relationships with the divine? Are you connected to your calling and purpose in life? Are you trusting the divine? Do you believe the divine has your back? Are you asking the divine for assistance when needed? Are you forgiving of yourself and others? So those are just, again, that's just an example of questions, the types of questions. How do I take it out of, no, never mind. I'm not going to do that. Stop it, Virgo brain. So those are the types of questions that we can ask ourselves with this card being in this position. And it will help us be like, okay, there's some things I need to think about here. Am I aligned within the spectrum of those questions? So you can go through each one of those questions and go, okay, where am I? Where do I stand in each one of these questions, and answer them for oneself, right? So that gives us the baseline. Now we're going to actually look and see where the imbalance is. There's too much of one thing, and there's not enough of another thing. And we want to find the middle ground, because that's what the spiritual path is all about. It's all about the middle path. So there is too much Seven of Wands, which means there's too much ego essentially involved. There's too much resistance. There's too much the mind, the ego wanting to get involved in our spiritual matters. And it's creating this resistance, with the Seven of Wands here, where the ego wants to be right, and it doesn't want to give up. It doesn't want to give any ground. It doesn't want to give up its ground. It doesn't want to give up its territory to spiritual things, because spiritual things are uncertain. There is a process of trusting the divine. That's why it's called faith, where the brain doesn't like that. The brain's like, I don't do airy-fairy, unpredictable, uncertain shit. I do things that are practical, logical, and tangible. We got to see it to believe it, or I'll believe it when I see it, right? That's the ego. So there's too much of that right now when it comes to spiritual matters. So if this was somebody who came to me and said, hey, I'm looking for love and romance in my life, and I'm not finding I'm not having any luck in my romantic relationships. I keep attracting the same types of people that are got good for me, or I don't attract anyone at all. What do I need to do? Well, let's pretend that this reading was for that person. I would say, well, right now you need to explore your connection to the divine and explore, your decision-making around the types of people you've been choosing, right? Are you actually, connected to what you want in terms of like what's in your highest good, or are you settling for things? And, I could probably spend, an hour just on that one card. And for those of you who've been with me on my live readings, you know that I can spend quite a while on certain cards. So, there's all kinds of life coaching that could happen, or relationship coaching could happen just based on that one card for somebody who came to me with that type of question. But, obviously we got to move on. So the Seven of Wands, I would say, well, there's been too much when it comes to, the spiritual side of you, what's been preventing you from having love and romance to come into your life. You've had too much resistance to that spiritual part of you. The divine trying to assist you, and the divine trying to help you and lead you and guide you towards the things that are in your highest good. You're creating unnecessary challenges. Your ego is. And so you need to learn how to trust the divine more here, is essentially what I would tell that person. And over here on the other side of the imbalance, where there's too little, it's essentially saying, hey, there's not enough there's not enough action being taken. You're not driven enough. You're not ambitious enough. You're not wanting it bad enough, basically, is one of the things. And there's times when you feel like, you're being kind of pulled in different directions. You feel out of control, basically, with the Chariot over here on the too little side. So somewhere in the middle between those two energies is the sweet spot, right? It's like we got to take control of our life, essentially. But we also, again, this is all relating back to the Lover's energy, what's in our highest good, and saying, I need to align my goals, the things that I'm driven towards. I need to align those things to the divine, the things that are in my highest good. And I need to stop resisting what those things are. I need to stop resisting the divine's feedback and the divine operating and functioning in my life, so that I have a clear pathway towards, with this energy here. Right. And so again, I'm doing a very generic kind of broad stroke breakdown of this, because if I was to do this for real, it would take a while. If I was to really analyze just these 3 cards in this one position, we'd be here a really, really long time, because that's how much content is available when you learn how to, obviously, when you learn the art of tarot and you learn all this stuff. And then your intuition gets involved and you are connected spiritually, and, you can start to really diagnose this. But just on a very surface level, broad stroke pass through, that would kind of be, an assessment that we could take away from this. So that's what we need to work on. We need to basically work on stop being resistant towards our connection with the divine, stop cock-blocking ourselves in that regard, and basically gain control of our desires, our goals, and, and basically kind of surrendering and allowing the divine to assist us in driving that chariot, basically. Right? So like that's where the star is. It's kind of hard to see. Let me see. Okay, I can get it. You see the stars way up here above the person driving this. Those are stars. All that blue above his head or her head, whatever, she, that's the divine. That's what that stands for, the cosmos, the divine. So the divine is the background, the backdrop. It's the force that's influencing the driver, that's influencing the 2 sphinxes. And that's what we want. We want the divine. We want to be constantly in collaboration, co-creating with the divine. We want to be one with the divine. We want to have an active living partnership with the divine, just like the Lover's card. Man, woman, and God. We want that type of relationship and connection all of the time, essentially, right? And so that's how we would look at and analyze that section. Again, just broad stroke. And then, of course, with the chariot being here, we can go back to those questions that I had on the free guide that you can download, and you can scroll down to the chariot, because this is a major arcana. And it doesn't just have to be in the main position. Anywhere that a major arcana shows up, doesn't matter if it's a clarifying card, it's still a major arcana. And so you can read the questions off the free guide about the chariot, and that'll give you feedback on maybe what some things you can do and think about to balance that energy. The same thing with the hangman, the same thing with the sun over here. And I guess that's all of them. So yeah, the chariot and the hangman and the sun. So that's that. So let's move over here and let's just run through this one really quick. Because now that you guys get the idea, I won't spend as much time breaking them all down like super detailed. That's not what the purpose of this was. It's just to introduce the concept while giving us an overview of kind of some things that we do need to do, because this is still a collective reading. So we have temperance here, and this is the balancing of water, which is emotions, feelings, and intuition. So there's too much this. There's been too much Ten of Swords. So there's been too much basically would I describe the Ten of Swords in this? Because this is where you got to get like creative in your definitions here, because swords is all about the mind, right? And so basically, for lack of better words, we have to stop murdering our emotions, being afraid of our emotions. Like, there is essentially, the minute that we experience or feel something here in our emotions, we want to stop it, right? The minute that we start, and this is, I would say this is pretty common amongst most people. Like, I think most human beings are not as emotionally mature or as emotionally healthy as they think they are. And that doesn't mean just because you're not walking around a complete shit show of an emotional wreck 24/7, doesn't mean that your emotional energy is in balance, right? It's just, for the most part, when you're living your day in and your day out experience, your emotions aren't being triggered in such a way to where you're actually getting to see what's really going on inside, right? That's why relationships are a really great place to find out just how emotionally healthy you are. Hence the whole attachment style theory. You get into a relationship and then you get emotionally attached, and then all of a sudden you get to find out just how truly emotionally healthy you really are, right? Or you get put under enough pressure, which is essentially another thing that's happening into the Ten of Swords. What happens when you hit rock bottom? Do you have any emotional control, or are you just, emotional wreck, right? So on the too much side, well, first of all, let's back up and let's look at the core energy. The core energy is temperance, which is all about balance, peace, harmony, moderation. So the card in of itself is saying, hey, there is a need for harmonization, harmony to occur here in the emotional world. It's literally, it basically told us what the problem was with the card itself. And so, but because it's a major, it's saying that the divine is involved. And this is a collective reading, so that makes sense. It's like allowing the divine, or understanding that the divine is part of your emotional experience. Your emotions are not separate, right? Your emotions are part of your ability to connect and to relate to the divine. So people who shut down their emotions, or they're emotionally avoidant, you're also being spiritually avoidant. You're being intuitively avoidant, because that's where your intuition is. And so here, it's basically on the too much side. It's saying, yeah, people are too quick to kill this stuff. It's like you see a bug and you want to crush it. Doesn't matter what bug it is. All bugs deserve to die. The minute you see a bug, your duty in life is to kill it. That's what's going on here with the Ten of Swords. The minute emotion shows up, you're trying to stop it. You don't want to experience any emotion. And we're being invited collectively into saying, hey, we need to stop that. There's too much of that. There's too much, emotional suppression, emotional murder. We're going to call that. Okay. Now, on the other side, the imbalance, there's too little enthusiasm with the sun. Excitement, happiness, enthusiasm. So basically saying, yeah, people are spending a lot of time in really shitty emotions. The Ten of Swords, that's not a happy emotion. If you're in a Ten of Swords energy, you wouldn't be feeling very happy. And over here, on the too little, it's saying you guys aren't experiencing enough fun, playfulness, happiness, positive emotions. That's essentially what this is saying. And with the Temperance card being there, it's saying, hey, this needs to be brought into balance and harmony. You need emotional balance. If you want peace in your life, because that's what temperance is, it's all about peace, balance, patience, moderation, right? If you want more peace, emotional peace in your life, you're going to have to stop emotionally murdering yourself. You're going to have to actually let yourself experience the emotions. And then the second thing you have to do is you're going to have to actually, focus on experiencing positive emotions instead of constantly doing what I showed you guys earlier in the video, going through the pattern, the reality pattern. You have an experience, you give a meaning, a story to it, and then that creates an emotion, right? So let's move over to the swords real quick. Now, the Queen of Swords is here, which is again telling us that, hey, this has to do with us. We know that it has to do with us, and we know what the Queen of Swords is. It's super logical. Now that's a good thing here. In this case, it's still a positive because you have a matching, the core energy is matching to the element that we were pulling on. So it's saying, hey, we're actually, we're more on the positive side of the spectrum than not. But there's still obviously, even when things are really, really, really good, nothing is ever perfect. And so there's still things that could be, improved, even though we're doing pretty good. Okay. So when it comes to logic, when it comes to communication, when it comes to our thoughts, our processes, our mental stuff, communication, we're doing really good here on the core energy. However, there's still too much this. Hangman, which is essentially too much. We're not considering other people's points of view. We're not putting ourselves in other people's shoes to understand their perception of their reality. There's too little Ace of Wands. We're doing too much thinking and not enough actual doing. There's too little action, right? So you can think about something all day long and have the greatest thoughts, the greatest ideas, you can talk about stuff all day long. Oh, one day I'm going to do this. One day I'm going to do that. One day I'm going to do this. But if it's not being fueled with action, then nothing changes. We can't just think about things and we can't just talk about things. We need to also do. We need to be able to act upon our ideas, our thoughts, right? And we need to be consistent in the things that we say as well. So we're not just, talkers, we're also doers. So let's move over here to the earth. Now we have judgment. So the divine obviously is involved here when it comes to our tangible matters, practical matters, earthly matters, anything tangible, physical, material, and that includes money and all that stuff too. So judgment has to do with obviously several things here. So when we look at the other two cards, we have too much Eight of Cups. So there's too much avoidance here. There's too much unfulfillment, unhappiness, like essentially a lack of gratitude and appreciation for the things that we have. And so with judgment being here, judgment is asking us to evaluate and understand, like judgment is essentially the one of the meanings behind judgment is essentially the I'm trying to think of the right word. It's all of our life's experiences that we've had up until this moment, right? It's you take all the knowledge, all the experiences, all the things that you've learned, the lessons that you've learned over your life, and essentially, you have all of that knowledge here. And so basically, what are you going to do with all that you have learned? And that's a form of judgment. It's a decision, a form of judgment, right? And so when you look back over your life, it gives you a sense of judgment because you have this opinion, basically, a frame of reference of all that you've gone through in your entire life. And that knowledge and that wisdom, what are you doing with what you have? What, in a sense, judgment is about any major decision that we make that could have a life-changing effect. But it's also based on all of the decisions that we've made up to this point in our life. So here in this reading, it has a lot to basically do with essentially our judgments, like our ability, our decision-making abilities here that are going to have profound and dramatic changes and effects in our lives here, essentially when it comes to the earth, our earthly matters here. And so with the eight of cups basically being a metaphor for just being unhappy, unfulfilled. There's too much dissatisfaction because that's the on the too much side of the imbalance of the energy, right? This is the too much side. There's too much Eight of Cups, saying there's too much dissatisfaction, too much lack of gratitude, too much not appreciating what you have. Well, on the other side, on the too little side, is we have the Page of Pentacles, and we talked about any court card having to do with us. So we know that this is talking about us. It's personal to us. It's something that's definitely inside of us that's causing this issue. It's not necessarily something outside of us. Whereas the Eight of Cups, that could be an external influence that's creating that type of energy. It could be an internal, it could be both. But with the court card, it's always us. So here essentially there's too little. Either we're not learning because the Page of Pentacles is the card of the student. We're not investing. We're not utilizing what we have. We're not being wise. We're not using judgment. We're not being wise with our decision making about what we have. We're not investing those things, or we're just not doing anything at all. Right? Like you're not using what the divine has given you, but yet you're dissatisfied with your life. And it's like the divine's like, how can you be dissatisfied when I've given you this, but you won't even use the little bit that I've given you? And that reminds me of a verse in the Bible that says, he who has more, he or she who has more will be given. And he or she who doesn't have, what they do have will be taken away from them. And it's just a metaphor of a natural law of life. Use it or lose it. And that's what this essentially is saying. Is like, on this side, the too little side is like, if you don't use what you have, then what you have is never going to be enough to begin with. And you need to come under the awareness of that, like having a wake up call, basically, with judgment, blowing it in your face, saying, hey, it's not that you can't be happy and fulfilled. It's just that you're not using what you have, or you're not investing, you're not planting the seed. You're not doing it. I've given you, I would give you whatever you need to be able to have the fulfillment that you desire in this regard. So that's the imbalance there. So let's move over to the fire side. Well, we have the devil. So, and obviously the devil in and of itself, most of the time is it's kind of a toxic energy. It's a vice, obsessions, addictions, cravings, temptations, toxicity, control, obsession, fear, or just too much or overly focusing on just the physical part of life, right? Our five senses, and being completely disconnected from spirit. Hence, why the traditional devil card energy, the pentagram is pointing, the top point of the star of the pentagram is pointing down, the upside down pentagram, whatever, is because it's showing you, it's saying that, hey, the focus of, we're not connected to spirit, we're disconnected from spirit, and we are completely just focused on the animal, our cravings, our desires, our primal nature, where it becomes toxic, it becomes selfish, it becomes corrupt, right? Now, the devil doesn't always have to be a bad energy. Sometimes the devil is the rebellious side of us that actually gives us the freedom to get out of controlling situations. So, for example, if you grew up in, let's say you grew up in a religious environment your whole life, and you were taught you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't eat this, you can't eat that, sex is bad, you can't enjoy this, you can't enjoy that, you can't eat this food, like whatever. Well, a little bit of that, the devil can come in and can kind of pull you out of the control and the abuse of religion. And that's just an example. I mean, so the devil doesn't always have to be negative. It doesn't always have to be bad. It just depends on the context of the reading and the other cards and all the other things. But over here, we have too much this. Three of Pentacles. So here, it's more definitely in the negative side because, first of all, we have Pentacles showing up here in the fire position instead of having Wands show up here. In both. So it's essentially saying that there's far too much drive and ambition, because that's what the fire energy, or what wand energy is about, right? Passion, desires, inspiration, motivation, action, craving, right? All of that kind of stuff. Sensuality. And so here, with the devil being here, it's essentially saying that the imbalance that most people have here, because this is a collective reading, most people's drive, their motivation, that the thing that lights them up, that makes them, the things that they're driven towards, is all essentially based on money and pentacles or material things. Okay, that's what this is. That's what it's saying in a broad stroke. Now, too much on this side. Too much just trying to constantly find ways to make more money. Three of Pentacles. Like, how can I get more? How can I get more? Who do I have to talk to? What do I have to do? What do I need to learn? It's like it's the building principle. Like you're creating something, you're working towards something so that you can gain more. And then on the too little side, you have the Four of Pentacles, which means that again, what you have isn't enough because you're hoarding it. You're holding on to, you're afraid, you're scared. There's a scarcity, and it's controlling you. That's why the devil is running the show behind the scenes, saying many of you are being controlled right now by scarcity, fear that you don't have enough, fear that you can't get enough money, you won't have enough money, you won't have enough success, you won't have enough wealth. It's just this scarcity mentality when it comes to your money, your health, and all of this. And it's controlling you. In other words, this part of the energy is being dominated by the devil. The devil is like, hey, you're obsessed. It's like, most of my life is being pulled in this direction here, right? So, that's definitely the issue that's happening down here in terms of fire. So, again, we could go back to the sheet, the free download, and go scroll down, and you could read the questions for the devil card. We can be asking ourselves those questions about, okay, what do I need to know about the devil? And then what do I need to do about this? How do I balance this out? Because what if my life wasn't driven by devil energy in terms of money and scarcity and, being a workaholic and being so obsessed with money and finances, my bank account and how much money I have and how much I don't have and my bills and, wanting the next flashy object and the next shiny thing and thinking that money and status and accolades and all that is what makes, that's what life is supposed to be about. Well, that's the illusion and the lie of the devil, right? And so, ideally, we would want to see the devil we want to see a totally different card here altogether at this point with this. Now, depending on the rest of this, because when we step back and we look at the entire picture, now that we've kind of gone through the whole, the whole balancing process of this. Now, of course, if this was a personal reading, I would have you, we would be taking notes. You would be like, okay, we'd be addressing specific things in your life. We'd be asking specific questions in each one of these positions, like down here, for example, because this is the one that we just did. I could ask you, I could say, hey, where in your life are you experiencing, where do you feel your finances are controlling you, or do you feel like you have control of your finances? Do you feel like do you have enough, or does it feel like it's never enough? Are you happy with what you have? Are you grateful for what you have? Or do you feel like, it's you need more? And it's not a judgmental thing. It's just, you being honest with yourself in regards to your relationship to money, finances, status, power, and all the things that money represents in terms of your life, your fulfillment, your happiness. And specifically here, because this is the realm of fire, passion, drive, motivation, inspiration, sensuality, sexuality. It's like, what think about what you're missing out on because of this energy, right? Think about all the things that you're missing out on in life because you're being consumed by an obsession with money and finances and scarcity and having to figure out how I'm going to get more money and how to keep the money that I have so I don't lose what I have and always being afraid if I'm going to have enough and all that kind of stuff, the fear, the uncertainty and all that. What would happen? What would be different if that wasn't the problem that you were facing? What if there was inspiration and motivation and that energy was freed up to be utilized in much, much, much more empowering ways, right? So you guys can kind of see, again, like if we were doing this like a coaching session where it was me and you just one-on-one, we could peel back the layers on everything going on that's affecting you energetically, that's preventing you from having what you want. And you could get a very, very detailed, you could walk away with all kinds of information about yourself. And just by the way, and that's just with what? Let's count the cards. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. 15 cards. With just 15 cards, you could walk away with pages of notes and information and understanding about yourself, what you need to change, what you need to do, and how you can align to the things that you desire so that you can attract those things. Okay. So I know this was an extremely long reading. I'll probably break it into 2 parts. But I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I thought about doing it on a live reading, but then I decided no. I was afraid that this would happen. So I was like, yeah, probably not. I'm not going to make people who come in for a free reading sit through a 3-hour seminar on how to change their lives, God forbid, and get what they want out of life, God forbid. But still, nonetheless, I'm not going to force people, back you all into a corner when you come for a free live reading to sit through a 3-hour seminar when you just wanted to get a reading, for God's sake. So I decided, no, I'm not going to do it. I'll make this as a separate video and share it with you all. But I do want to say this in closing. And again, I could have spent, this is for me, I know this was long, but for me, this is like really quick, especially this part here with the cards. Because each one of these cards, or each one of these positions, I could spend at least probably 20, 30, maybe not 40, even 45 minutes per position. That's how much content is in each one of these. Now, the cool part about that, like I said, if it was a individual reading, then it would be even, more defined and more personalized, because it's not a general collective reading for everybody. It'd be just about you and what's going on in your life. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you would like a personal and private reading just in general, or you would like me to check your energy and see what you're aligned with and what you're not aligned with, and what you need to change to get the things that you want, the information is in the description box. Send me an email and we'll set up, we'll book a time and we'll do a reading. I'll do a reading for you, rather. And so, is there anything else? Anything else I need to know? Don't forget the free download. It's completely free. All the questions you need for the major arcanas. Anything else? I don't think so. I think this is pretty much it for this. Oh, yes, there is one thing. I knew there was one other thing. The last thing that I want to say is, if you haven't seen it yet, the most important video on my page, which will be good for between now, it's January the 23rd, 2025, when I'm recording this. Between now and about June or July of 2025, the most important video that I've recorded is a 2-part series. It's called the Universal Year 9, because we're in a Universal Year 9. It's part 1 and part 2. Go check those 2 videos out. It's for everybody. Everybody needs to have that information and knowledge in their mind, at least up until mid-year. And then once we get to mid-year, I'll check the global energy again and see what it looks like until we get, for the second half of the year. But make sure you guys go watch that. It's very, very important. It's going to be the most important video that I've made on my channel between now and June or July. And I don't say that lightly, because just like this is a very important video. There's lots of information. There's lots of content here for free that you get to consume. And if you apply it, you don't just listen to it, you actually utilize it. It has the power to change your life. Okay. So, I think that's, I think that's it. So if you have any other questions, you're interested in the Conscious Collective group, anything else, my email, all the other stuff is in the description box below. And I appreciate you all, and love and light. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. All the other information is in the description box below. And as always, my friends,
I'm not a bloody psychic.